Leading up to actually going to New Zealand in the really months prior, I was sending videos of myself teaching. That was really nice because it was not what I feared it could have been.
What do you believe it could have been?
You need to lift heavier, you need to squat lower, what you said wasn't good, you need to say something completely different. And that is not at all what happened. Not at all. It was a lot of positive feedback, and then sometimes a couple things to try, a couple things to change. And it was usually related to technique, or I'm thinking of the yoga warm up. They worked with me a lot to make that more smooth and more fluid. I think something that is hard for me about yoga warm ups is they are just kind of like a collection of moves. And I don't always find it easy to flow seamlessly from one to the other. So we worked on that a lot. But really, coaching, they were happy with it. They were happy with how I connected with the camera, which is something I had never done before. I mean, I've never worked with like a film crew or cameras, or I'm obviously not in like the film industry. So I've never done anything like that before. Early on, they said, like, if you can look at a camera and talk to it like you're talking to a friend, that's really what we're looking for. So I kind of kept that in my back pocket and tried to bring that to light as much as I could.
Wow, Rebecca. Yeah, that's a really invaluable skill to have because it can be so hard without other people there, especially not having participants, but rather having people in black shirts and camera rigs and dollies and boom mics. Tell us a little bit about that, because in this filming round as well, we see folks carrying around the handhelds in the shots with you. Was that distracting? What was it like filming to camera with this unique circumstance?
So, yeah, that is so funny because I didn't know. I really didn't know, even as we were doing it, because they would come through with like the handheld camera, and I'm just thinking they're getting a close up and they're going to edit this together how they do. I didn't know until I watched it, especially Body Pump, that was happening, that you could sort of see the set and you could see the camera. And at first I was like, what is this? Like, at first I thought it was a mistake. Like, did they make a mistake because that person stepped into frame? And then it became apparent that it was very much on purpose. But no, I actually did not know that.
That is really funny.
I guess it's better not to know. I don't know.
I guess so. I don't know.
I don't know. I just remember when we were about to film Pump and we're all like in our outfits and hair and makeup is done and we're standing there and we're getting ready. There's a lot of waiting around. There's a lot of kind of hurry up and wait. Get there really early, get everything ready to go, and then stand there for a long time. Marlon actually came up to me before and he was like, just whenever that camera comes near you, any camera, like if it's nearby, like just look at the camera and talk to the camera. And again, pretend like it's a friend, and that's going to help you, do really well. And they're going to like it and people are going to like it and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then even when I was shadowing and not the one talking, if a camera came by, I would look and smile and stuff. It's weird because you don't really know what to do. Do I acknowledge it? Do I not acknowledge it? I don't know.
Yeah, like in that type of setting, filming for this purpose, I can't imagine it without people. Truly, because it was nice for me personally looking out and seeing the faces of other people while we're working out. You can kind of ignore the big movements around you of big machinery, people walking around, things over the monitors. So, wow, hats off to you, because that is a commendable skill.
And I know this might sound really weird, but I liked it. For the first time doing this, I was actually grateful that we didn't have participants, because it was just one less thing to think about, one less thing to consider. I didn't have to worry about, again, where do I look? You only look one place. You look at the camera. I think I would have found that to be very overstimulating, to have all of this going on, lights, camera, everything, and a room full of people doing the workout with you. If I ever get invited back, which I have no idea if that's ever going to happen, I would like to do with participants to see what that's like. Sometimes what would happen is we get to the end of a track and then they would say, we're going to do it again from this point, not always the whole track. So all that is to say, I liked it. I liked teaching to camera is what they call it, which is something I didn't really expect. You know, people always say that must have been really hard. And I think the other way is harder.
One thing that's really cool that folks may not know about this opportunity is that in addition to filming, you got to be a part of what we call the development squad, and you actually got to have a personal coaching relationship with none other than Diana Mills. Could you tell us a little bit about what the development squad is and how this coaching relationship has been for your teaching?
Yeah, it was a really super positive experience. It was very much like being taken under her wing in a way. Like I said, prior to filming, there was a lot of conversation, phone calls, messages going back and forth. Never was it ever her being hard on me. It was always super positive. It was always, and when I would start to doubt myself, which absolutely I did, she would circle back to, this is why we, think you'd be a good fit for doing this. This is what we want to highlight with you. This is why you're here. It's not about other things that you might be anxious about. It's about the connection that you bring and things like that. When I arrived in New Zealand, so we did about a week of rehearsals, and the 3 programs I'm involved in are 3 programs she is also involved in. So she was there pretty much every rehearsal, every time we were going through coaching or scripting, every time we were going through every little bit of it, she was there, and that continuity was really nice, and it made it really comfortable between takes. She would come up and talk to me and others as well. And it became a very comfortable relationship. I have thanked her and Kylie Gates profusely for that, because if not for that, you're not going to get a great product, in my opinion, if people feel afraid and not quite sure how they're being received. But to just be kind of built up this whole time leading up to it and then during, you're going to get people's best performance. And I think that's what happened. Not that I am not without flaws, but I did the best I could do on the day, thanks to all the support. During the pandemic, New Zealand was very much like shut down. No one in, no one out of New Zealand for, I think, a couple of years. And it changed a lot as cases fluctuated during the pandemic. But out of that was the need so Les Mills never stopped filming releases during that time when they were super shut down. So what they did, and what Diana herself did, is she cultivated this group of presenters in New Zealand who lived locally, and they were the first development squad. So it was this situation where they had to keep filming. They could not bring in international guests. How do we get the best possible product? So let's take this group of people, I don't know how many, maybe 15-ish, 20-ish. And she mentored them and coached them and taught them how to teach to camera and worked with them on all of their skills. And then there's a group of releases during that time, kind of 2020 to maybe 2022 or so, where we kind of see the same faces again and again and program to program. Well, that's because they were part of the development squad. So basically what they did was they took really great instructors and really great presenters, and they made them good at filming. And then they used them a bunch of times. Once the borders opened and they could bring people in and out of New Zealand again, it had been successful. So she said, okay, well, what if we made this international? What if we have a global development squad? And the global development squad was, again, a new idea and kind of, I think, already has changed, but will continue to change and flex and ebb and flow as the years go on. But the first one, Diana sent out an invitation to people on TAP teams, so trainer, assessor, presenters, really in all countries where Les Mills is present. And it was just an open invitation. We could send a video of ourselves teaching 2 tracks and then just a little talking to camera piece about why we were interested in the opportunity. There was other people might have a different idea of what this was, but I took it as it was kind of implied that these people were going to go to filming, but I wasn't 100% sure. In my mind, it was kind of a maybe, like if you're a good fit type of thing. Originally, I wasn't going to even try because I kind of had another goal in mind. And my goal was to get on stage at Les Mills Live that year because, believe it or not, anybody listening, I've never taught at a really big event. Like I've never taught at Les Mills Live. I've never been on stage in front of hundreds of people ever. So that was my goal. And I kind of had tunnel vision toward that. And I was like, I'm working on this. I don't stand a chance with this other thing. But then I talked to a mentor of mine and she was kind of like, if you want to try, you should. Like, you should just go ahead and try. And I did. I remember the day I filmed it, I had about 10 minutes of footage I needed to film, and I had 10 minutes to film it because I had to be somewhere. And it was very last minute. It was very casual. It was not perfect. It was just really, I sent the video so I could say I tried and not be mad at myself when I didn't make it because at least I tried. And a couple of weeks went by and I heard that I was chosen for the United States, it was me and Lula. And I found out pretty far in advance that I'd be going to New Zealand in May. And it happened. I kind of still can't believe it happened. Like, it's a little bit of an out of body thing. Like, I know I went there and I know I did that. And now people are watching it, but also, like you said, 2018 me, who was assessing on the bathroom floor of my gym while my child was in childcare, cannot believe that happened.
Yeah.
Post-filming experience, you've been so much more active on social media, and I love seeing your posts because you bring so much vulnerability and knowledge to different topics that are so relevant to us right now in 2024, speaking to body positivity, mental health, where the fitness industry is going in terms of trends and how we bring more people along. I'm curious, what is on the horizon for you? Is there more planned? What can we expect to see from you and your platform moving forward?
As far as what's to come, I really don't know. And I'm not being coy or anything like that. Like, I'm at a bit of a fork in the road of some life things, and I don't really know what's going to happen next. I'm open and we'll see what comes. And I hope more positive things, more enriching things. I really, really, really love the work I do as a trainer. So when I get to spend those weekends with new instructors teaching them how to teach these programs, I really love that. And I hope to just continue doing that and maybe even do it more. And as for sharing online, it's so funny because the same thought pattern happens every single time. I will think to myself, either just something I want to share is on my mind, or sometimes it's like a response to other posts that I've seen. And it always goes like this. It always goes, I really want to say something. I don't know if I should say something. what the heck, I'll just say something and people might not like it. But, you know, with social media, you can always unfollow people if you don't like what they have to say.
Well,
So there's very little, it's kind of low risk. So I'll put something out there, and then it is overwhelmingly positive feedback. And a lot of times what I hear as far as like mental health things or body positivity things, or even just like confidence things, always the response is, I thought I was the only one who felt that way, or I know exactly what you're talking about. I have felt that too. Oh, I've struggled with that too. Or you struggle with that. I struggle with that. So it's a way to build community. And I don't know that is something I considered when I started sharing things, but part of the horrible nature of anxiety is you feel, or I feel, like you have to keep it a secret. Like you can't tell anyone about it, because wouldn't that be embarrassing? Or maybe they would think less of me or something. But there have been times, like literally in my gym with my fellow instructor friends, we're getting ready to go teach a class or a launch, or someone's filming a video for something or whatever. And sometimes I'll just look at someone and be like, I feel really anxious right now. And sometimes just getting it out of your body helps. I don't know the science behind that, but it's like it shines a light on it and it brings awareness to it. Similar to when you're going online and saying, hey, let's talk about some of these human things that a lot of us probably experience, but we don't talk about, because just putting it out there and someone being able to say, me too, it just creates more and more connections. When you're brave and a little bit vulnerable, it tends to happen pretty organically. And without a doubt, when people ask me, like, what's the best part of Les Mills? What's the absolute best thing that Les Mills has ever done for you or given to you? It is the fact that I can confidently say, I have friends all over the world. Never thought that would ever be part of my vocabulary.
You've been teaching for 12 years. We scheduled this interview again in 12 years. What are the things we're going to be talking about?
So something that fitness, I think, is moving toward is this idea of do what you like, do what makes you happy. If you love running, run. If you love weightlifting, weightlift. If you love yoga, do yoga. I think we're moving that way. And I hope that if we have this interview in 12 years, that will still be going on. The confidence piece, which I am working on actively. Like, I don't really consider myself a super confident person, but the idea that nobody's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you. So it's not worth hiding. It's not worth hiding. Like, be out there, be in the world in a way that feels good to you. Because I promise there is nothing so bad or offensive or not cool, that you could possibly do. I have achieved everything in my fitness career, which, by the way, I can't believe I have a fitness career, but I've achieved everything in my fitness career. Everything changed for me when I realized that I didn't have to wait for opportunities to come my way. So, for example, you and I came on the TAP team at the same time. My role was as a one program assessor. So I just let a few months go by and I just asked. I was just like, hey, I'm assessing body step. Could I also assess core? Like, I literally just asked. It was not application window time. It was not open call. It was not everybody tell us what you want to do for the year. I literally just asked and they said yes. And then a few more months went by and then I was like, could I assess body balance? And they said yes. And then it was like, and then I got into training and it was like, I'm already training this and I assess it and I teach it. So couldn't I just train it? And it was like I just asked those questions. I heard no a lot. It wasn't always yes. I tried for a long time to become a trainer and presenter, and I was told no, 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 years in a row. But if you don't ask, you're never going to know. And sometimes they say yes. So I think that's my advice is like, if you don't ask, you're never going to get it. And if you do ask, you might get somewhere that you never would have foreseen. So I encourage everybody listening, whatever your job is or whatever your goals are, don't just sit back and wait to be invited. Just ask. Like, just ask. Be respectful, be professional, accept the no if it's no. Fitness is for everybody. Fitness is for people who've never exercised a day in their life, who want to start today or tomorrow. And it's for the athlete, and it's for the people in every sort of a body and at any weight and at any size. I would never want to see someone not go to a gym or not turn on a workout video at home because they think they don't fit. This is for everybody. Like, everybody is welcome here. And here means like fitness, like the fitness world, Les Mills or not, like this is for everybody. So we don't need to gatekeep any of that. Like, if you're listening to this, you're welcome here.